In the next 40 minutes, I will teach you the exact framework that helped me to grow my blog from 0 to almost 700 visitors per day. You will learn how to define your audience, create a bulletproof outline, choose the right keywords and links, generate beautiful illustrations and images, create a fully optimized meta description, and finally publish the whole thing on WordPress. Before we actually write the article, I would like to show you in a few seconds where we are going to publish it. And this here is my website called shinywords.com, and here authors, writers and publishers can find useful resources like tools, templates, and we also have a little blog. And here I'm publishing regularly articles about writing, book marketing, self-publishing and so on. I know my audience quite well, and why this is so important, we will work with a combination of different prompts. And our base prompt that actually generates the final article builds on a few building blocks. So as you can see, we provide a topic, a word count, but more important is we provide things like an audience, a proper outline, the right keywords, and also a list of internal links. And this combination of building blocks will allow us to generate a fully customized blog article that Google will not flag instantly as AI-generated crap. And also on the other hand, it's much more valuable for the reader. I know if you're just starting out, it can be a little bit difficult to define your audience. For this reason, our first prompt will solve exactly this problem. And if you don't have any articles yet on your blog, you can also use a competitor website to analyze your audience. So let's get started. We basically copy this prompt. And as you can see, in all these prompts, we have different variables. So for example, here we have to place an URL. Here we have to provide a topic, an audience. These different prompts build on each other. So you should follow exactly this order you find in this document. So let's go to a new ChatGPT session and we just add this prompt here. Take our blog URL, place it here, and then it will analyze this URL and define our audience in a few sentences. So as you can see, our audience is defined as aspiring and self-published authors seeking for practical guidance on writing, self-publishing and book marketing. They're interested in tools and strategies to enhance their publishing journey and so on. I think let's keep it crystal clear and we just use the first sentence because this is already enough. Then we start with our first building block, so audience, and then we just paste it here. So, and then we continue with the next prompt of our list. And our next prompt will generate our blog article outline. And the blog article outline is probably the most important building block in this framework because it builds the foundation for our article. And it's basically going to decide if your blog article is going to rank well or not. So let's start, and we just copy this prompt. We go over to ChatGPT, we start a new chat, and now we have to fill in the variables. So we go to our audience and paste it here in the audience variable. And then as you can see, we have to provide a topic or keyword. And in this example, I will go for this topic here, how to choose a pen name. And if you need help in crafting a roadmap like this, so a collection of topics for your blogs with potential traffic and competition, then just let me know and I will do an additional video about that, how to create like a professional roadmap for your blog or for your website. So in this example, we take this topic, how to choose a pen name, and we place it right here and we run the prompt. Once ChatGPT is done with all the work, I just copy it and use it as my first draft. So let's have a first look and we can actually take out all the subtopics that are not relevant. Also, you can see that we have suggested word counts for each topic. This is important because in the base prompt, we provide the outline here and it will help the AI even more to know how long each section should be. And as you know, some questions can be answered in a blog article very quickly, others not. So others need more details. Okay, so this is why it's very important to provide these word counts. So let's cut out all the subtopics for now. Okay, now we have our basic outline, or our first draft of the outline. And what we are going to do now is we basically open a new incognito window and we search for our topics. So in this case, how to choose a pen name. And what's very important here is that you go on advanced search and you choose region. And then I would go for the location of your main audience. So in my case, it's United States. So United States, and language you should change to English. So, and then we basically have the leading search results for our keyword. And now I would usually open up the 10 to 15 leading blog articles on this topic. And as you can see, the first search result is basically a Reddit post, so this is not relevant. The second one is a pen name generator, so this is a tool, and we will probably have no other content here. Yeah, okay, we have some content, so this is very good. So they combined basically a tool with a blog article, so we keep this open, and then we just open up all these blog articles in a new tab. And what we do now in the next step, we basically verify our blog article outline. So we look at other blog articles and we see what is already working. So which topics are relevant for this search term. So as you can see here, for example, why do authors use pen names, how to pick a pen name, and so on. So basically we will adjust our outline a little bit, and I will start with this as a separated topic. What is a pen name? Okay, as one first topic, and place this below as a lone standing topic. Okay, then we have examples of famous pen names. Okay, I would also take this in a list. Let's place this here, for example. Examples of famous pen names. Okay, and then you basically continue with all the other blog articles. How does a writer choose a pen name? Okay, how to choose a perfect pen name. A step-by-step process. This we can cut. Okay, so we have this section already. Then let's take a look at this website. What is a pen name? So we have this in our outline. Why do authors use pen names? We also have this in our outline. Is it legal to use a pen name? Okay, can I legally publish under a pen name? Okay, we have this in our FAQ. Then how to choose a pen name step by step. Pen names of famous authors. We also have this. In our case, examples of famous pen names. So, and as you can see, this is how we improve our first outline into a proper outline. So we take a look at blog articles that are already published, that are already ranking quite well, and we will try to adjust our outline based on this. Because this process takes quite a while, I will speed up things a little bit and you will see how I pick the topics. Once we have our main topics, what I usually do is I copy this outline, go to ChatGPT and ask what other topics would help to outrank other existing blog articles on the topic how to choose a pen name. Okay, and then we paste our outline. Or maybe we say existing outline. And then it will give us suggestions of topics we can include. So for example, one topic that might be quite interesting is like tools. or pen name generator tools, legal considerations. This we cover already in this topic here, things to consider before choosing a pen name. How to test your pen name before publishing. I think this is not too relevant. Branding and marketing with a pen name. Okay, pen name by genre. How to manage multiple pen names. Real author stories. So I think the only one that is actually relevant is the part with the tools. So let's copy this topic. And I would say probably place it here below the part how to choose a pen name. And let's give it maybe also 200 words. As I said, what's very important is that you provide the word counts. So ChatGPT later knows how long each section should be. And what I usually do is I go on a website called wordcounter.net and I just test a little bit with existing blog articles. So for example, what is a pen name? Okay, I copy this part and check how many words they have. So they have like 64. Let's take another example from this blog article here, which is ranking number 1. So they have 170 words. So I would say, let's go for 175. And we do the same with all topics. Okay, so how to pick a pen name. Let's take a look. This one has 200 words. Ours has 500 words, right? Okay, let's take a look at this one here. How to choose a pen name step by step. Okay. Let's copy all this content here. Paste it here. And they have 1,500 words. I think this is a little bit too much, but we still want to keep it detailed. I would say let's make it 700 maybe. Once we verified the word counts for our main topics, it's also important to choose the right subtopics for our outline, because if we will just use this outline as it is, we might end up without any subtopics. And subtopics are very important for SEO because it helps Google to understand what your content is about, but also for the user and the reading experience, because it helps you to skim through the content and identify quicker what you are looking for, okay? So first you need to decide which main topics actually need subtopics. So for example, our first topic, what is the pen name? This is a straightforward answer, so we don't need any subtopics here. But the next one, why do authors use pen names? So this is basically an overview of benefits, and each benefit should be a subtopic. Or also the next one, how to choose a perfect pen name, is basically a step-by-step guide where each step should be a subtopic. And also here, pen name generator tools, each tool in this list should be a subtopic. So as you might saw, when we use this prompt here, the article outline prompt, it already provides us with suggestions for subtopics. But what I usually do is I go on Perplexity, which is very similar to ChatGPT, but from my experience, better in researching online. And usually I go through all these topics or questions and ask Perplexity to answer them. So we choose our first topic, why do authors use pen names? And you ask, explain me, why do authors use pen names in simple terms? Use simple and easy to understand headings. Okay. So now it will research, and why I tell Perplexity to use simple terms and easy to understand headings. Our goal is to have content that is easy to read and easy to understand, okay? So as you can see, these are perfect subtopics to keep the identity private, and we can just add them step by step here in our outline as subtopics, okay? So first one, to keep their identity private, to write in different genres, and then we continue with the other points. to avoid bias in judgment, for branding, maybe we can say for branding and marketing. So, and I would say this is probably already enough. So we now jump to the next one. So how to choose the perfect pen name. And you can just adjust this here, and we replace this. Here we replace terms with steps. And then we run it again. Okay, and now we can copy these steps to our outline. So we have 4.1. Decide why you want a pen name. 4.2. And I will now basically speed up the whole thing because it might take a while. And then we will just fill the outline with our subtopics step by step. So for this section we have here, where we provide tools and resources, I think it's very useful if we directly provide the links to the user. So I will use Perplexity again to say, please give me the exact URLs to the following tools. Okay. Let's see if this works. Okay. So, and then can add it here in brackets. Then for this section, examples of famous pen names, I saw one very good example. I think it was on this website. Yeah, exactly. So they basically provide a table format with the pen name and the real name. So instead of giving every single pen name and real name here, we will just give some additional context or explanation. Generate a table overview with the columns, pen name, and real name. Okay, let's see if this works well. And then we basically have all our main topics and subtopics. So now we already reached the last topic of our outline, which is the FAQ section, the frequently asked questions. And first of all, here it's important that you don't cover any questions that you already have answered before. So for example, what is a pen name? Why do authors choose a pen name? How to choose the perfect pen name, and so on. So here you should cover questions that you have not covered yet in the article. And as you can see, the prompt we use at the beginning already provides us with a good selection of questions for this section. But what I usually do to find the gold nuggets, the questions that are really relevant, is I go back to Google, to our first search query, how to choose a pen name, and then you have this featured snippet here. And this will show you a lot of questions people actually searching for. And this is also the reason why you should use the FAQ section in your article in the first place, because it will give you the possibility to actually rank in one of these sections. Because if you open up one of these questions, you will see it will link to the actual article where this question is answered, okay? And to get even more questions, you just need to open up this feature a few times. So like this, then you click maybe on this question a few times, and maybe on this, and it will make this list even longer. And now you choose the most relevant questions that you have not covered in your outline yet. So this question, for example, might be very useful. Are there rules for pen names? So let's add it here, for example. So this here might be interesting. How do I change my pen name? What is a good pen name? I think we can place this right at the beginning. And then I think we already have enough questions for the FAQ section. And with this, we finished all parts of our outline. So we have a very good overview of our main topics, of our subtopics, of the word counts we want to have for the different sections. And now we move on with the next prompt. The next two steps of our framework are finding the right keywords and choosing internal links for our blog article. And I promise you, we will complete these two steps much faster than creating our outline. So let's continue with the next prompt, which is our keyword research prompt. And we start a new ChatGPT session. We replace the variables. So our topic is how to choose a pen name. And then we have to add our audience description again. So let's add it here. And once we run this prompt, this will research online on already existing articles on this topic and suggest keywords that are particularly relevant for us. So, and here I recommend two things. The first one is limit your selection of keywords to a maximum of 3 to 4 keywords. And then you should not include any keywords that you have already covered in the headings of your outline. That means, for example, we will not go for keywords like pen name, obviously, or things like how to choose a pen name, or also not pen name generator, because we have already covered these keywords in our headings. So what we are looking for are keywords that are not covered in our outline yet, and also synonyms of our main keyword. So this one here looks very promising. Pseudonym. Then we have pen name ideas. This might be relevant for our section. Pen name generator tools and resources. Let's see if we can find something else. Maybe author names and alias. Okay. Let's add these here. And this is already enough. So as I said, limit your keyword selection to a maximum of 3 to 4 keywords. And then once again, we create a new section in our notes. So let's place these here. The next step is to choose the right internal links for our blog article. And first of all, what are internal links? These are basically links to already existing blog articles and pages on your website. And they have two advantages. First, they allow Google to better understand the structure of your website. And also they improve the user experience. Let's say you have a blog article and in a specific section, the user wants to learn more about this topic. If you then place an internal link to a more comprehensive blog article about this specific topic, it will keep the user on your website. So let's continue with our next prompt. And this prompt will analyze our outline and our sitemap, which is basically an overview of all the links on your website, and suggest the best link opportunities for this specific blog article. So let's start with our topic, which is how to choose a pen name. Then we need our sitemap. And if you use WordPress, in most cases you can reach your sitemap by entering /sitemap.xml. And then I would choose posts, so the post sitemap. And here you can see all the links to your different blog articles. Okay, and now we simply copy all of them. And we place them in this section. And next we need to copy our entire outline. So let's add this here. And once we run this prompt, it will generate an overview with suggestions of internal links. It will tell you exactly where to place it in the outline. And it will also provide a little bit context why this might be relevant or valuable for the user. Okay. And as you can see, based on our topic, it will suggest this blog article about Amazon KDP, and it will place it in the outline at the section Can I use a pen name on Amazon KDP? Or here another example, it's a blog article about book genres, and it will place it in the section to write in different genres, or in the section match your genre, okay? And let's go through all of these. And in most cases, I choose only 3 or 4 internal links. So the first 3 sound very promising, and I recommend you that you copy the whole thing. So with the URL, with the anchor text, with where to place it in the outline, and even with the explanation, okay? Because it will help the AI to better understand where to add it in your final blog article. So let's add a new section called internal links to our notes, and then we add the whole thing. So the first one, okay, the second one, and the third link. Here we just have to do a few adjustments, because I would not add the link in 2 sections. So we cut the second section out. Okay. So now we have 3 actually relevant internal links for our blog article. And as I said, this has advantages for SEO, but also makes our content more unique. Now we have all the building blocks we need to actually write our blog article. That means our topic, audience, outline, keywords, and internal links. And all you have to do now is copy this entire prompt, and it's quite comprehensive. Then we go over to ChatGPT, add the prompt, and first we start with our topic, which we already know is how to choose a pen name. Then we have to provide a word count for the entire article, and based on our outline, it's approximately 2000 words. And the next one is our audience. So let's copy this. We bring it over here. Then we copy our entire outline, copy it, and place it right here. Next, we have our list of keywords. We add them right here. And finally, our internal links. And once we run this prompt, we will end up with a unique blog article based on our topic, outline, and it will also implement all the keywords and links we provided. So let's give it a shot. Once your entire blog article is generated, it's important to not publish it as it is. So I really recommend you to go through the entire article and try to find the things you can improve. And here I will give you a few examples. So you can basically type, make the following changes, and then we will list all the changes we want to apply. So first of all, I would like to have a little introduction for this section instead of going right to the table. So let's say add a short introduction for the section examples of famous pen names, okay? And also I think it would be valuable if this list of examples would be a little bit longer. So add 5 to 10 additional pen names to the table of the section examples of famous pen names. So let's continue and let's see if we can find a few more things to improve. So for example, also here, frequently asked questions looks a little bit odd without any introduction. So let's say also here add a short introduction sentence for the section frequently asked questions. So then once we run this prompt, it will adjust the whole thing. So now we have like a little introduction for this section, and our list is also longer. So we have a few more examples here. Let's see how it looks for the frequently asked questions. Also here we have nice introduction sentence. So as I said, you should go through your entire article and try to identify the sections where you can improve the quality and also the formatting. And another very important thing is fact checking. So if you, for example, have elements like this here, a list of names that have to be accurate, okay, I would simply copy the whole list of names. And then what you can do is you go to Perplexity again and you ask to fact check the following list of pen names. Then we simply copy all the names here and it will generate some overview and identify the ones that are incorrect. Okay, so then we can simply copy the actual name, go back to our article and say replace Nora Roberts, and now it's updated. In this way you can make sure that the content you publish is actually accurate. Okay, and besides that, I would say our blog article is pretty solid. So let's copy the whole thing and we bring it over to a new document. And if you bring your article over to a new document, make sure that the heading structure is correct, because this sometimes gets messed up by ChatGPT. And once you have polished your entire blog article, there are still 2 steps missing until we can finally publish it to our website. So the first one is that we need a few good images and illustrations. And right after that, we will also generate a SEO-optimized title, meta description, and tags. So let's continue with the next prompt, which will basically help us to generate the images for our blog article. So we copy the prompt, add it to ChatGPT, and now we have to copy the entire text of our blog article. So copy the whole thing, and then we place it right after the prompt. And once you run this prompt, it will generate a few ideas for each section of the blog article. As you can see, after a few seconds, we end up with a huge collection of ideas for each section of our article. And all you have to do now to actually generate these images is you pick an idea. So let's take this one as an example. And then we basically say, generate the following image. Okay, and then you paste the idea simply below. And generating the image might take a while because ChatGPT's image generation is not the fastest. Alternatively, you can of course use Midjourney, Leonardo AI, or any other image generator. And after a few seconds, we end up with this beautiful illustration that we now can use for our blog article. And I would say I generate all the other illustrations and then we talk right after. After just a few minutes, I generated all the illustrations we need for our blog article. And as you can see, these look really stunning. And all we have to do now is simply download them, and then we can already use them on our website. Our next and last step is to generate a SEO-optimized title, a meta description, and tags for our blog article. For this reason, we will use the last prompt in our list. Simply copy it. Once again, we go over to ChatGPT, and also here you have to copy the entire blog article. And once we run this prompt, it will generate multiple variations for a title, a meta description, and tags to choose from. So let's take a look. How to choose a pen name, 9 expert tips for authors. I think this one is the best. And then we also need a meta description. So let's save this already. Learn how to choose a pen name that fits your brand, genre, and goals. Get expert tips and avoid mistakes new authors often make. Okay, that's not bad. Discover the best way to choose a pen name that stands out. Use our step-by-step tips, tools, and examples to create your perfect author persona. Okay, that's also not bad. Struggling to find the right pen name, this guide helps you craft one that's memorable, brandable, and perfect for your writing journey. I would say we go with this one. Okay, and the text, not much to choose here. And now we go back to our notes just to save it. Let's copy this here. Our last step is to put all the pieces we have together and to actually publish our blog article. And if you work with WordPress like me, you simply have to create a new post, and the first thing we have to do is to copy all the text we have from our document and bring it over to this post. So simply like this. And as you can see, it's already perfectly formatted. And the next thing we are going to do is to add all our images. So we go over here to post and we start with the featured image. So let's upload all our files. Simply like this. So here we just select our featured image and apply it to this article. In the next step, we will also add all the other images. So we simply add image blocks here, choose from our media library, and then we select the right images for the right sections. And now we are almost ready to publish our article. There is just one small thing left, which is to add our SEO-optimized title, meta description, and tags. So let's go back to our notes and let's start with the tags. We simply copy them, and then on our blog post on the right side, you will find this section here called tags. We simply paste them, and that's already all you have to do. And now we also select a matching category. In my case, this would be writing. And now we can already continue with our title and meta description. So let's start with the title. We copy this one and we replace this one here. And for the meta description and the title, I use a free plugin called Rank Math. And you can simply install it on your WordPress website if you go to the plugin store, and this will allow you to use this feature here where you can edit the snippet for the Google search results. So let's add our SEO-optimized title here, and then finally we also copy our meta description and add it here. So we close this, and now we have all the elements to finally publish our article. So all you have to do is simply click this publish button here in the top right corner. And here is our final result. We ended up with an amazing, unique blog article with a few beautiful illustrations and all the keywords and links we wanted to add. If you found this video helpful, then please consider to like and comment below. And if you want to learn how to automate this entire framework, then please subscribe and stay tuned for my next video. I wish you an amazing day.